Welcome to part 2 of Let's Play Talisman of Death. Let's continue the game. Okay, in the last part, or rather at the end of the last part, I was on paragraph 197. Let's read through that again. Suddenly, from behind you, the captain shouts, "Look out! Ambush! Everybody duck!" You hear the sound of an arrow whistling through the air as Elvira ducks in front of you. Will you duck? Turn to 240, or wait to see what happens? Turn to 224. We're going to wait to see what happens and turn to 224. Okay. Realizing that the whole thing was a trick designed to test you, you make no move, and the arrow, fired by one of the women, thuds harmlessly into a tree. They now believe that you are truly deaf and dumb. You ride on into the late afternoon, moving from the wilderness to a grey and desolate moor. Ahead you can see the walls of a large city. A salute is given as you approach the huge arched gate in the fortified wall. The captain gestures to you to dismount and waves you into Grey Gills itself. Thankful for your escort, you wave farewell and set out to discover if there is any way of returning to Earth. Turn to 296. Okay. You walk into the city along a street called Moorgate. Many of the buildings are quite grand, built of light grey stone. The streets are crowded with a mixture of people shopping and young men and women carrying books and scrolls. Will you walk down a continuation of Moorgate called Store Street, turn to 357, or turn left into Smith Street, turn to 303? We're going to turn left into Smith Street, so turn to 303, which is just here. Okay, you stride down Smith Street. Next door to a tinker's shop, you see what... I'll start again. Next door to a tinker's shop, you see what appears to be an armourer's. Do you wish to go in? Turn to 139, or pass by? Turn to 104. We're going to pass by and turn to 104. You continue on down Smith Street. There are no shops here, and the street is deserted except for a stooping, cowled figure who looks like a beggar. He comes up to you and suddenly draws himself up to his full height. Inside the cowl there is nothing, no face, just two glowing coals suspended in blackness. Your horror at this apparition turns to dread as it hisses in a sibilant whisper. Did you think you could run from death? Give me the talisman. A black-gloved claw reaches out towards you. Do you say that you no longer have the talisman? Turn to 81, or attack this thing immediately. Turn to 96. And there he is. We're going to attack it immediately and turn to 96. Okay. You catch it by surprise and strike it a mighty blow. It hisses in rage and pain and comes at you with its claws. You must fight the minion of death. Each time it strikes you, it draws your life force, so you lose 1 skill point as well as the normal stamina loss. Minion of death. Skill 7, stamina 5. If you win, turn to 175. Okay, so... Okay, so my skill is 12. And we're fighting a minion of death. Let's put that as his name. Minion of death. And he's skill 7, stamina 5. Okay, so we're rolling for him first. So his skill is 7 minus 12. So let's do this. So 2d6s. Here we go. Okay, he gets 8, that's 15. I get 8, that's 20. So 15 to 20. That means he's down to 3. So far so good. Okay, let's roll again. He gets 7 plus 3 is 10. I get 16. So 10 to 16. So I win again. I don't want him hurting me, ideally, because then I lose a skill point, which would be annoying. Okay, then lastly, he gets a 10, that's 17. I get 5, that's 17, so that was close. So, no overall advantage. So let's do that again. He gets a 9, that's 16. I get a 5, that's 17. So 16 to 17, I win. That was close though. So he's down to 0 and he's dead. Okay, that's the end of Minion of Death. Let's get rid of the buzzing. And, yep, there we go. Okay. Okay, if you win, turn to 175. Let's go there now. Okay, your last blow meets no resistance. The grey cloak billows to the ground in a heap. All is silent except for a sudden keening of the wind. You rest and begin to overcome the shock to your system. If you have lost any skill points, all but 1 are restored. Cautiously, you move on, coming to Silver Street. Okay, we didn't lose any skill points. So if I lost only 1, then all but 1 are restored. So so if I lost only 1 skill point, then I would regain all but 1. So I would regain no skill points, wouldn't I? Because I've only lost 1 in the first place. So to regain any skill points, I'd have to have lost at least 2. Anyway, turn to 85. That doesn't apply to me anyway. Does that make sense? If I lost only 1 skill point, I would have to get back all of them but 1. Yeah, so if I lost only 1 skill point, I wouldn't get it back, would I? Yeah. Anyway, turning down Silver Street, you are startled by what sounds like men's voices whispering nearby. You soon realize that a trick of the wind is carrying their words to you through a broken piece of pipe, which connects a ramshackle house to an open drain. There are 3 of them, and it seems that they are planning to rob the jewellers, which you can plainly see on the bend of Silver Street. There is a shabby staircase leading up to the house, and you creep towards it. Will you go up the staircase, turn to 245, walk quickly to the jewellers, turn to 278, or ignore this and turn into Store Street, turn to 243. Really imaginative names for the streets here, I like it. We're going to ignore it and turn into Store Street, turn to 243. You continue along Store Street and then down a tree-lined avenue called Booker's Walk. 2 very grand buildings built of blocks of grey stone stand on either side of the road. A group of young people in blue togas, escorted by a white-haired old man in pale blue robes, enters the building opposite. A flag showing books and scrolls is flying from the nearest building. It appears to be a library. Will you see what information the library has to offer, turn to 346, or investigate the other building to find out what the young people are doing, turn to 279. We're going to enter the library. So turn to 346. There we are. Now, the entrance hall of the library is filled with desks at which scribes are working, copying books and scrolls. Reclining on a plush window seat is a wrinkled old fellow in the pale blue robes of a scholar. You feel out of place wearing armour in the quiet of the library, where the stillness is broken only by the scratching of pens. Welcome to the largest library in the Man March, says the sage. Choose any tome or scroll you may wish to peruse. Perhaps I may be of assistance. What is your field of study? Will you ask to read something about the gods, turn to 336, or ask to read about the history of grey guilds, turn to 196? We're going to read about both of them, so we're going to read something about the gods, turn to 336, which is quite nearby. Well, we'll try to read both of them anyway. The sage directs you to the Book of the Gods, a large leather-bound tome inlaid with gold leaf. Turning the gilt-edged pages, you realize the gods of Orb are many. You recognize a symbol on one of the pages as being the token borne by the warrior women. Their goddess is Fel Kairinla, Sword's mistress of the heavens. She is sworn to oppose Rochival, the good, god of paladins. To your excitement, you discover a reference to the Talisman. Some believe that it can be used to command the undead minions of death. Turning the page, you come to a reference to the All-Mother, nature herself, preserver of life, who cares for all. Then you see a bizarrely illustrated page dealing with Anarchil, breaker of edifices, who spurns order. You are just learning of Avatar the One, essence of light, when you realize that it has grown dark while you were reading. You thank the sage and leave quickly, hoping to find a safe place to sleep. Turn to 186. Oh, we can't read both, never mind. It doesn't matter which one you read, though. 186 we're turning to. You leave the building and continue on down Booker's Walk. The streets are already deserted and there are few lights in this part of the city. You search for the welcoming light of an inn. Then, without warning, the steel teeth of a hidden man-trap snap shut round your leg, ripping your flesh. You are in terrible pain. Lose 2 stamina points. Let's do that now. It's down to 22. I'm just testing something. Okay. Shadowy figures loom out of the murk all around you. Their faces glow with a sickly pallor in the moonlight. They are wearing black robes clasped at the neck by shrunken human skulls. Do you still have the Talisman of Death? If you have, turn to 162. If you do not have it, turn to 150. Okay, we still have it, of course, so 162 we go. We are the priesthood of death, says one of the figures. We have come for what is ours. Your arms are held, and you are searched. The talisman is torn from you by their leader. I have it, brothers, I have it, he exclaims in triumph. Now may our Lord enter his kingdom. They cheer loudly, oblivious to the approach of a large group of riders. Stand, make no move, a woman's voice rings out. It is the watch. One of the priests mumbles an unholy incantation. You see a wave of fear break over the women and their steeds. Some cannot control their horses, others flee, but the bravest charge the priests with loud cries of battle. The priests are unprepared. Some are knocked on the ground, others make good their escape as silently as they came. The talisman falls to the ground, its bearer decapitated as he turns to flee. It is caught up by one of the watch, who announces her intention of taking it to the temple of Fel Kairinla. They wheel their horses and ride away, leaving you to rot. You have lost the talisman. Cursing bitterly, you resolve that if you escape, you will not rest until you have regained it. Turn to 128. Okay, so we've lost the talisman. I'll just put lost here in case, or for when we regain it. Anyway, let's continue. Turn to 128. You are left alone to wonder how the law-keepers of this city could be so cruel as to leave an innocent person in such dire straits. You tear feverishly at the trap, terrified of some footpad slitting your throat for his own vile amusement. Soft footsteps approach. You look over your shoulder and see a man approaching. Here, he says, let me rescue you from this trap. He steps on the release catch, which had been out of your reach, and the trap springs open. You step free, and he walks along by your side. Have you a place to stay tonight? Perhaps you would like to sleep in my humble abode, he asks, looking sideways at you. You are curious that he should be walking the streets alone at night, but you are also exhausted. Will you accept his offer and go home with him, turn to 143, or decline his offer, turn to 107? We're going to accept his offer, turn to 143. The man's house is a small stone bungalow. He leads you into his bedroom and offers you a straw-filled mattress behind a curtain. Thankful for the chance to rest, you go to sleep without asking any questions. You sleep deeply and regain 4 stamina points. Let's do that now. So we're back to 24. Great. You wake to find that your host is sitting watching you. I hope you are well rested. You talked in your sleep. He smiles at you and says, "Do you need help? Has someone stolen something from you? How did you come to be trapped alone on the street late at night?" If you want to tell him the whole story and ask him for advice, turn to 98. If you would prefer to say that you cannot answer, turn to 92. And there's a picture of him. And he does have a skull on his desk. That's a little bit dodgy, isn't it? But we are going to tell him the whole story. Turn to 98. You tell him everything, and he listens with growing amazement. He introduces himself as Apothecus, a sage of history. "I have heard of the Talisman of Death. You must recover it at all costs." He suggests that you enlist the help of the Thieves' Guild, as he doesn't think you can recapture it alone. It will be in the Temple of Fel Kyrinla by now, I'll warrant. Horkana, the High Priestess, will be holding it there. Go to the Red Dragon Inn on the Street of Seven Sins. It is dangerous, but you may make contact with the thieves there. He gives you a breakfast of savoury pancakes and invites you to dinner that evening, saying that he will try to discover more to aid you. In the meantime, he says, take these. He hands you 5 pieces of gold and a ring. It is a ring which increases your skill at arms. Add 1 to your skill score while wearing this ring. As you leave, he gives you a jade rose. When you return this evening, show this, and I will know that you are not a shape changer. You thank him for his help and leave the bungalow. Will you go to the Red Dragon Inn? Turn to 57. Turn to 57, or head for the temple. Turn to 221. Okay, let's just write down that we have the stuff. Okay, so we've got 15 gold now because he gave us 5 gold pieces. Jade rose. So jade rose. So we have that, and we also have ring plus. I'll just put +1 skill, but we can't use it because it can't go above our. We can't go above our initial skill. Yeah, so we can't use that yet. I imagine that's if we, lost some of the skill to that minion of death. We can sort of get it back while wearing it. I don't know. Yeah, Jade Rose, we have that. Anyway, where do we want to go now? We're going to go to the Red Dragon Inn. So turn to 57. It's just up here. There we go. You take a side street which leads towards the Street of Seven Sins and are almost pushed aside by a couple of students in blue togas. They are quarrelling and begin fighting in front of you. It seems one of them disagrees violently with something the other has said. As they tussle, you notice that the angry young man has dropped a small brass tiger charm. Will you interrupt the quarrel and give the charm back? Turn to 47. Ignore them and go on your way. Turn to 156. Or just pick up the charm. Turn to 32. Okay, we're going to interrupt the quarrel and give the charm back. Turn to 47. The angry young man turns to you, a puzzled expression on his face. He thanks you and says, I don't know why we are quarrelling, really. He takes the charm from you and you walk on. Fortune will smile on you for being so honest. Gain 1 luck point. Is that something we need to do? Or something we can do? No, we can't. We haven't lost any luck or used any luck. Soon afterwards you hear the fight breaking out again. You're always making trouble, shouts the other young man. You leave them to it. Turn to 156. You come out into the Street of Seven Sins and soon find the Red Dragon Inn. Steps lead downwards and the sound of raucous laughter floats up from the smoke-filled gloom below. You enter and walk over to the only part of the dive where it is light enough to make anything out. Passing tables and stalls, you come to the bar, behind which stands the bulky proprietor of the inn. Do you have the brass tiger charm? If you do, turn to 11. If you do not, turn to 3. No, we don't because we gave it back. So let's just have a look at the picture first. There's the bulky proprietor. He looks very mean and hard working. Anyway, we don't have the charm, so we're going to turn to 3. There we go. You ask the barman for a mug of ale. While he pours you your drink, your eyes adjust to the gloom and you survey his customers. You have never seen a more disreputable disreputable bunch of villainous-looking cutthroats. The barman says, "That will be a piece of gold. You hand over the money." Alright, so we've lost a gold piece. It's expensive ale, worth its weight in gold, or whatever, you know what I mean. Actually costing a gold piece. As you replace your money pouch, a dozen pairs of eyes watch closely. The only one who doesn't watch is a stooped old man cleaning slops off an empty table. Will you talk to the barman, turn to 88, walk over to the old man, turn to 19, or approach 6 surly-looking men who look like thieves, turn to 280? We're going to approach the 6 surly-looking men who look like thieves, turn to 280. You introduce yourself to the motley group of villains. They do not reply. You persevere, saying that you only wish to speak to them for a few moments. One of them, whose face is marked by a jagged scar running from ear to chin, fixes you with a stare and grates, "We don't care for the law, so watch yourself. You could be dead before you knew we'd moved." Will you ask them the way to the Thieves' Guild, turn to 145, say you need help with some unfinished business, turn to 246, or boldly retort that their threats don't scare you, turn to 167. We're going to say that we need some help with some unfinished business, turn to 246. Here we are. They appear interested and offer you some ale. You accept a mug and do not drink. You suggest that in helping you they might gain a great deal. They agree to meet you and tell you to come to the Thieves' Guild at midday tomorrow, via the disguised coal hole in Hornbeam Road. I'll say Hornbeam Road. It does not look like an M though. That's not an M. That's Hornbeam Road. Hornbeam Road. Don't know how to pronounce that really. You begin to chat to them. Turn to 169. Okay. Let's just write down Hornbeam Road or whatever. I'll just say that. Hornbeam Road. Coal hole. There we go. That is not an M. No, that really isn't an M. That must be an R and an N. Anyway, turn to 169. Oh, here we are. 2 newcomers enter the Red Dragon ale cellar. The first is a very tall, wiry man whose frame is draped in a black cloak. The only hint of colour is his hair, very curly and dyed bright corn yellow. The second is a handsome young woman dressed in a bizarre patchwork of armour. The barman mutters under his breath, then forces his face into a smile. Chuchev, Cassandra, welcome, he shouts obsequiously. The thieves move away from you to sit at another table. Chuchev strolls to the bar and orders a drink. Cassandra sits opposite you at your table. She ignores you and Chuchev joins her. Will you say nothing, turn to 2, get up and leave the ale cellar, turn to 363, or introduce yourself, turn to 374. Okay, there they are. That must be Cassandra, and Chuchev, whatever his name is at the bar there. Okay, we're going to introduce ourselves, so turn to 374. They tell you their names are Chuchev and Cassandra. Chuchev says, "You are a newcomer. What brings you to the Red Dragon?" The beautiful Cassandra takes a dagger from her boot and starts to toss it end over end, catching it each time by the tip. As you consider your answer, she tosses it again, but does not catch it. It buries itself in the table, a centimetre from your hand. Or an inch from your hand, I should say. Will you say that you wish to meet some thieves, turn to 340, say you came in for a drink, turn to 386, or tell him to mind his own business, turn to 397. We're going to say that we came to meet some thieves, and turn to 340. Okay. "I am a thief. Among other things, says Chev, why do you wish to meet thieves? You tell him that you have some unfinished business and need some help. Ah, yes, he says, but I am needed at my temple. I am not interested. Will you take your leave and go up the steps out into the street? Turn to 289, or mention that the business involves the Talisman of Death. Turn to 327. We're going to take our leave. I don't trust the Chev or Cassandra. So turn to 289. You step out, squinting against the bright light of the late afternoon sun. Add 1 luck point for visiting the Red Dragon Inn and living to tell the tale. We don't need any luck. You are back in the Street of Seven Sins. If you have met a sage and he has invited you to dinner, you may turn to 229. If you have not been invited or do not wish to go, you may go down a side street called Cobbler's Walk, heading west. Turn to 195, or go down Merchant Street, heading northwest. Turn to 394. We're going to we're going to go back to the sage and honour his invitation, or not honour, but take him up on his invitation. So turn to 229. On your way towards the sage's house, a small boy runs up to you and asks if you would like to help a very clever scholar and make some money doing it. It won't take long, he adds, tugging at your sleeve. Do you want to thank him but decline and go on your way? Turn to 273. Or will you go with the boy? Or will you go with the boy? Turn to 216. We're going to go with the boy and turn to 216. The boy leads you to the Guilds of Learning. You hurry down a cloister which surrounds a square of tall grass speckled with scarlet poppies, and on towards a huge greenhouse made of tarred wood and glass. 2 scholars wearing the pale blue robes of the sages come out to greet you. One is spindly and bald, the other is very chubby and peers at you through his pince-nez. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. They are obviously pleased to see you and introduce themselves as Moreau and Polonius. The fat one, Polonius, asks you to come with them. If you'd like to earn 20 gold pieces for 20 minutes work... to go with them if you would like to earn 20 gold pieces for 20 minutes work. Will you go with them into the greenhouse, turn to 182, or politely decline and go back to the sage's house, turn to 273? We're going to go with them into the greenhouse and turn to 182. We are scholars, says Moreau excitedly. Vivisection is our field of study. We use surgery and magic to create new forms of life. Just wait till you see our creation. They take you to a large sunken pit in the middle of the massive greenhouse. The pit is ringed at the top with downward pointing spikes. They lower a ladder and you all descend into it. In a barred cage at the edge of the pit is a most loathsome sight. The scholar's creation is a massive beast with the body of a giant cockroach, 6 giant arms for legs and 2 heads. The body of a giant cockroach, 6 giant arms for legs and 2 heads, one above the other. The top one is the head of a crocodile, and below is the warty face of an ogre. Isn't she beautiful? Says Moreau. Polonius says, we need a valiant warrior to test her. We want her to be used as a war beast. Do not worry, though. The minute she looks like harming you, Polonius here will put her to sleep with a special spell. The ogre face, which looks distinctly male, roars and slavers. I'm unsure about that. Slavers? I don't know. If you want to say thank you, no, I'm not fighting that, and leave immediately, turn to 201. If you would rather say, this should be interesting, and prepare to fight the beast, turn to 189. We're going to fight the beast, and turn to 189. And there it is, the body of a cockroach. Absolutely revolting. Ugh. Anyway, 189. Okay, excellent, enthuses Moreau. They climb the ladder and draw it up behind them. With a clang, the bars of the cage slide into the ground. The beast comes towards you, intent on making you its next meal. You must fight the vivisect. The sages produce wax tablets and begin to take notes. Vivisect, skill 8, stamina 12. You may appeal for help at any time. If you do, remember this reference number and turn to 158. If you do not appeal and win, turn to 176. Okay, we're going to do that in the next video. So half an hour is up almost. So thank you for watching. In the next video, I will be fighting the Vivisect and seeing how I get on with that. So I'll write down that the paragraph I'm doing. Well, next paragraph is 189. That's the one I'm on. Yeah, next video we'll be fighting the Vivisect. Yeah, so thanks a lot for watching and goodbye.